morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Chronicles. I am Lataz. I am here this morning with Chris Northrup and Donald and Luca should be on their way shortly as everybody's just having a prepping for their weekends. And a beautiful weekend it should be. But it's also been a beautiful time in the Yankees universe as they just keep on rolling as they win yet another series against the Rangers. For some reason, they just cannot figure out Volpe, but we've got over that when they were in Texas. Just how there's always those Yankee killers, and they're able to just elevate their game. It is what it is, but a series win is a series win. That's all you can ask for, is bounce back from the loss, and they did that yesterday. And the big highlight. And the headline right now is the call up of Spencer Jones, who is somebody that we've been jonesing for. So, here's this kid, for our age, he's a kid, finally getting this call up. We're going to be able to see what he can do. And as exciting as it is, there's also an unfortunate, terms to it with the injury to Dominguez, who was really contributing very positively to the Yankees' success in the absence of Stanton. It's like a new bat was in there. Dominguez was playing just fine. I thought he had it's you never want to see somebody go down. And you never want to see somebody get carted off the field. And it's just devastating because here's another kid that we've been waiting for to see him just, kind of blossom into what he's going to be. And unfortunately, with the injuries that he's faced over his career so far, he's never been able to really get into that rhythm to develop into what he's supposed to be or expected to be.
Right.
But now it's going to be Spencer Jones's chance to kind of take the baton and keep this game rolling, and keep this team just racking out wins, series wins, game wins, sweeps, whatever it may be. So I am really looking forward to seeing how this team just continues to just keep things rolling, and winning games and staying competitive. But Chris, I'm going to throw it to you real quick. How are you feeling about the call up?
How ironic that the Martian and hug a Martian today, please. A Martian, how ironic that he gets hurt making the play. He made the play, and it was a tough play. And he's been criticized for his outfield, for his glove work, and there he is extending himself and gets injured. But that's his job on the one hand. On the other hand, I hope he isn't Miguel Andujar out of the, existence here. That's my thought. And Spencer Jones, hooray. I mean, let's throw a freaking parade. It's time. And we can talk more as the show goes on about his numbers and what's going on with him, how he's improving, where he's improving, etc. But I'll let other guys speak,
Yeah, we have Luca and Donald with us now. I'll throw it to Donald. We started it off with the bittersweet excitement of Jones coming up, but unfortunately on the tails of Dominguez having to have yet another injury. It sucks to see Dominguez hurt as he was starting to really get things going and contributing, and now having to kind of hit reset and hope that Jones can do the same thing on the major league level. How you feeling about it?
It was brutal. Brutal what happened to Dominguez. It's so unfortunate because, Uncle Tess, you even said, I think it was last week, you said in the stream, that he's getting this tag of being injury prone, but a lot of this is just bad luck.
Yeah.
It's just baseball events. And this is just another example of it. It's just another example of baseball events that you can't legislate for. He made a great play. That was a brutal hit. Like it was brutal. That was sore. That would make you wince. Like he smashed into that. He smashed into that wall and hurt his shoulder and almost concussed himself. And he was out cold for a minute. That was just a brutal moment for the kid. So it would be remiss of us not to send our best wishes to him and to get fully healthy. That was just a horrible hit. That was just horrible. You never want to see that ever. But maybe it's a sign that the Yankees need to put more padding around these areas just to avoid that. So they might need to look into that because that was horrible. So anyway, we wish Dominguez a full healthy recovery. It's bad news for him, bad news for us, but good news for Spencer Jones. And to be honest, Spencer Jones was long overdue. And I'll be honest, I'm so excited about this. I love me some Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones is my guy. I've been riding with Spencer Jones for a while. He is my guy. I love his power speed combo and his defense. There's a lot to like about this kid. His power numbers are absurd power numbers, and we get the benefit of that. So I'm so excited to see Spencer Jones play. I've been crying out for it. I think the Yankees need it, and it's going to be super exciting to see what he can do. Personally, I don't know how popular an opinion is or whatever. It's just my own opinion. I'm higher on Spencer Jones than I am on Dominguez. Now, whether that comes to fruition or not, I don't know. But I'm higher on Spencer Jones because his power potential is higher and his defense is better. And his speed is even slightly better, too. Now, he does strike out a lot.
Right.
So you're going to have to live with the strikeouts. But you put him lower down the order and just let him cook. It should be a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun. You should be seeing some fireworks in the Bronx. I think it's great. And I also a shout out to the Yankees because they're being really aggressive. And I'm loving this aggression. They are not messing around. They are not messing around under any circumstances. Are they messing around? They aren't even doing anything stupid like calling up Volpe. They're just like, no, right, let's call up the big gun. I love it. Let's see what Spencer Jones can do in the big bad moment. I can't wait. Let's go, Spencer.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, I can't wait for Spencer Jones as well. I'm so excited. It's been a long time coming, and especially with not only just the injury to Dominguez, but again, best wishes to Dominguez, hoping for a speedy recovery, but also Trent Grisham struggling as well. It's very much needed. So I'd like to see him get some at-bats, possibly over Grisham. Now, will it start immediately? I don't know. It depends how Spencer Jones starts out. Do we see the power first? Do we see a bit of flashes of power? Do we see a bit of flashes of the strikeouts? We'll see. But I'm very excited for Spencer Jones. For Dominguez, it's hard luck. It's very, very bad baseball hard luck. I do think the Yankees do need to add some padding over there. I would think they would have it in right field. Obviously Dominguez got hurt in left field, but like on the opposite side, they would obviously have the score. I remember they had the scoreboard over there, but obviously they went electronic. They got to add some padding over there. That's too bad of an injury where you can't avoid just doing something afterwards as like some sort of repercussion or whatever. But the Yankees do need to add some padding over there. But best wishes to the kid. And it was a great play. It was a great play in left field as Joe Girardi called out. Took a good angle to the ball. Just sucks. Just terrible. But again, I'm excited as all hell for Spencer Jones to see what he brings to the table.
Yeah, one of the aspects, and Donald kind of touched on it briefly, and I'm like, this is like it was right on my docket for the next idea to go around the table with, and that is the fact that they called up Spencer Jones. because they could have easily gone, seen this as an opportunity to bring up Volpe and shove him down our throats. But they actually made the right they made a smart baseball move. An outfielder went down. They called up an outfielder, and not try to get too cute with it. And I do have to say, I think, Boone scored a couple of points with me and some of the fans that this was the direction that they went in to keep the ball rolling. I was absolutely shocked when it came out that Spencer Jones was getting called up. I as soon as he got carted off, the news came out, I'm going, oh crap, here comes Volpe. And the fact that it wasn't was complete stun gun, I'm done. And just and I'm curious, everybody in the chat, we're gonna get to some of your comments right after this, but did you guys have the same kind of gasp that, oh, crap, how are they going to react to this?
Absolutely.
Chris?
I said the Yankees are going all in.
Yep.
I didn't think they were. I'll be honest. I didn't think for a second they were calling up Volpe. I knew it was going to be Spencer Jones automatically.
No, I didn't either. I agree with you.
Well, this season, yes. Because the way that's where the Yankees are operating right now, they're operating with urgency, and it's a meritocracy right now with the Yankees. And
it is
basically the two things that we've been crying out for a long time on this channel. Rob, prior to us, has always been crying out for this to become a meritocracy. Let's give the people that deserve it an opportunity, and Spencer Jones deserves it. Volpe doesn't. Did you see what Volpe in the field yesterday? I saw.
Oh my God! Yes, I saw that.
God. Yeah, it's not
that
good.
Kid's wrecked. That kid's wrecked. He's cooked, absolutely cooked. But I think if this was last season, I think the Yankees would have found a way to operate in ways that don't make sense, or they would go and scour the waiver list and sign some 29-year-old journeyman. That's kind of what the Yankees used to do. But this year, no, they're acting with urgency, and I'm so happy to see it. And I'm excited. Now, I don't want us to have unrealistic expectations of Spencer Jones. Remember, this guy's it's only going to be his first at bats at the major league level today, I assume.
Yeah.
So, like, if he has if he struggles a little bit off the bat, then that's to be expected. I just hope there's no unrealistic expectations there. But I really believe that if you give him a good number of at bats, that he will show what he's capable of. I'm very high on him. But we also have to see what he's like.
Right.
How if his swing is consistent, if his approach is consistent and these things, and maybe gets his K rate down a little bit. I personally think that will happen. I do believe that will be the case, and that we've got a very exciting prospect on our hands. So, yeah, you know what? The future starts now. Let's go.
Yeah. Before we get into we give our takes on the expectations, like you said, and I think you're spot on. Let's take a minute. Let's get to some of the chat here and jump again right on time. Al Hero and Mazza, what is going on? Good to see you in the chat. Definitely miss talking to you on the daily basis. Miss you a lot. Glad to know that you're in. If you're in the chat, you're safe. Just keep your head strong, bro. NFE, if you haven't checked out NFE's channel, The Strike Zone, he does a phenomenal job on play-by-play. Make sure you go and check out and subscribe to him if you haven't already. If the Yankees wanted to call up Volpe, they would have done it a week ago. Absolute facts. They could have easily just called them up and done the same that they've always done. But this year, we've been saying it. There's a different vibe this year, and they're staying. They're sticking to their plan. They're not panicking. So that gives a lot of optimism to how this Yankee season is going to go. What's going on, Dev Finch? John the Beagle Dad, Healing Men Hard, Stuffing Things. I wanted to also bring up the, he's also, Healing Men Hard, Stanton's calf injury must be more serious. Yeah, we haven't had any updates on Stanton. We're going to get it, we're definitely curious to see what the status and the timeline is. I don't know if they just don't want to hit the panic button because things are going so well.
I do have an update on that, bro. He's not running.
Okay,
he's not even running yet. He's not even ready to run. So, that means he's alive.
Doing nothing.
Yeah, he's doing nothing. So, that it's going to take a lot of time. I wouldn't be rushing that. And clearly the Yankees are not rushing that. No. That's the right thing to do. There is no need to rush it. The Yankees are playing great, and when Stanton is healthy, the most important thing is for Stanton to be healthy for the second half of this season, when it's pedal to the metal and it's about winning divisions and then and cooking in the playoffs, which is what Stan does. So there's not any real rush to do it in May. You know what I'm saying? So I'm okay taking time with this. Spencer Jones's numbers in AAA have been pretty much nothing short of spectacular. Got 11 home runs and 41 RBIs already. And that's in just 33 games. 11 home runs and 41 RBIs. Holy moly, that's good. Also 7 stolen bases. Nothing to gawk at there. Got a 366 on base percentage, so he's on base at a decent clip. 600 slug, 592, and a 958 OPS. Sign me up, Buttercup. Honestly, let's go. If we even if we get just a decent fraction of that, a strong fraction of that, I would be very happy. You know what I'm saying? If you can give us, instead of a 958, if you can give us an 800 OPS, beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Instead of a 600 slug, even a 500 slug, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Even if the numbers take a step down, which I expect they will, as long as it's at a decent clip, then we're in good shape. I want to see that power potential. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, I'm going to bring one more comment up, and then we'll go into, Luca, Chris, and I will talk about our expectations, and anything you want to add in, Donald. And Healing Men Hard put in the thing that they have officially placed on a 10-day IL with a left shoulder AC joint sprain. So, look, you can't – this guy went all out to make that play. Where we've all been very cautious with the way his defense would develop. He had the perfect route to the ball. It's so unfortunate that this is the way that we're getting Spencer Jones, but here he is. And Yankees, Dave, you're right. Spencer Jones is a stud. But he's not going to come up and go 5 for 5 with 5 grand slams.
No, he's not.
It's going to be a learning curve. If I want to see them utilize him every game. Don't call him up to leave him on the bench.
Yeah.
Yep, you saw them do that with Dominguez. Learn from your mistakes. Let the kid play. Right, figure it out. DH, I don't care, but he's got to be in the lineup every game for the rest of the week. Into next week. I want to see him the next 3 series. I want to see about 10, 15 games before I start to see which direction the opinion is going to go. I think, especially because there's such a high expectation for him, I want to kind of lower my expectation of how he's going to adjust from minor league pitching to major league pitching, because it's a huge adjustment. And so we have to be patient. We can get excited, we can be aggravated, but we need to also remain patient at the same time. It's difficult to do, but it has to be done.
Facts. Absolutely facts.
Chris, what are your expectations?
Well, the Yankees, now this is an interesting stat. The Yankees have an 820 OPS in the late innings 7 through 9. And I will bet that last year they didn't come close to that. And that's why we're winning games is late and coming back and sustaining wins is where that, not flagging in the late innings in the hitting, with the hitting. They're good, good all the way through, are excelling. I mean, and not only that, we've got at least three hitters ahead of Jones that are spectacular right now between, Judge, Rice, hopefully back in the lineup as soon as possible, and Bellinger. Jones doesn't have to come in and be a sparkler. He can come in and be Jones because these guys have got that, they are already a machine, is I think where I'm headed with that. And he fits that mold. I mean, I knew there was no way Volpe was going to be inserted into the machine that we have going right now that's winning games and being consistent and hitting. No swoons, please. This is a swoon-proof offense, I hope. But Jones, he can move around the outfield. He's got more versatility than, Volpe has. Volpe is, it's not even, why am I even having this conversation, I guess? It's not a question. So Jones is the man. He can slot in, I think, behind the big guns. As big as he is himself, he doesn't have to carry anything. He can just help, shoulder the load at this point. He's not responsible for carrying this offense. If he can jump in and, let's say, keep towing the rope, then he's doing the job.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree as well with what Chris said. I mean, also to mention, Jose Caballero's gotten hot. Ryan McMahon's gotten hot the last couple of games. So that only adds to the amount of pressure that's going to be taken off Spencer Jones. Now, where they put him in the lineup is interesting. Yeah, true. Uncle Tats, I know you said place him at the bottom of the order. It's going to be interesting to see, how they handle the Trent Grisham thing. If they continue to play Trent Grisham, obviously he's going to be at the top of the lineup. As in Grisham, then they'll play Spencer Jones at the bottom of the lineup. But I wonder if it's going to be really interesting and intriguing to see if Grisham continues to struggle and Spencer Jones gets to get more at-bats, who's going to be in the leadoff. But I agree with Chris fully. He's not going to have to, go out be this superstar automatically. He's got the bats around him where he's going to be like, okay, I'm just going to play my role. There's not going to be a lot of pressure. This is not a completely starving offense where they're completely desperate.
No.
We're just missing a player right now, obviously taking over for Dominguez. But I'm just going to play my role, and I'm going to hit. And I'm going to play some phenomenal defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was an interesting comment in the chat from, I believe, Ray, if I got it right, where he advocates for sitting him against lefties.
Yeah. I had seen that in
across that in the chat. So I did look at the splits of 2025 and 2026 with Spencer Jones. So Spencer Jones absolutely mashes against righties. Like he's gotten 1,000 OPS this year and 1,000 OPS last year, all of last year against righties. Absolutely mashes them, destroys them, eats them for dinner. Lefties, he does struggle. He does bat below the Mendoza line against lefties, but it's a smaller sample size, and maybe a bit of work in the major league level will help up those numbers up a little bit. But personally, I'm not sitting him against lefties. Now you could look at maybe having somebody on deck, maybe later in games if it's a real problem. But for me, I think you need to give him everyday at bats, regardless of lefty righty, and see what you got. I don't think it's enough of a sample size to say he can't hit lefties. And also, he does still have power, even even with the poor splits. He still has shown power against lefties. It's just the average isn't there, but I'm not too worried about that personally. I think that could be improved at the major league level. So he's got what I love about Spencer Jones. He's kind of got Ohtani's stance. You know, and he's got a massive power potential. So regardless of who's pitching against him, he's going to have that power potential. That's what I love. And also what I love about it is it adds an element of versatility to our team that we probably need, let's be honest. That's why I'm not rushing Stanton, because Spencer Jones' presence means that Trent Grisham, for instance, can rest, or Trent Grisham can play DH, or Aaron Judge can play DH, and Spencer Jones can play right. Spencer Jones is a very good right fielder, and Spencer Jones is a very good center fielder. So you can see him getting the center field for a while, because Trent Grisham hasn't been amazing out there. So that's a positive. And then obviously it just makes the DH spot an open spot for people that need to get a rest. You know, you could even have, for instance, Goldschmidt play first base and Ben Wright playing DH, and it just opens things up so much more. So the team's more versatile, and it's gotten younger with higher upside offensively. There's not really a downside to this. There really isn't. It's given 20 games, 20 full games almost every day, and let's see what his numbers are at that stage. And then we'll make some, can't really make any grand proclamations because it's still very small sample size, but, it's still an opportunity to see where he can improve on, and et cetera, et cetera. So, no, I'm all on board with this. I think it's a great move from the Yankees.
No, I think it, to automatically isolate him to one side of the plate, after all the work that he's put in down in the minor leagues to get to this point, I think would be a disservice to him. We saw them do it with Dominguez. They tried doing it with Rice, but Rice couldn't hit lefties. He kills lefties. Why? Because they gave him the opportunity to really, improve his craft of hitting from that side of the plate. They have to have. That's why I'm really curbing my expectations, and I want to see, 3-4 series in how he's doing and how they're utilizing him. Are they putting him in spots where he's going to be successful, or they're using, you can't do a Dominguez with Verdugo on the roster, just have him sitting there just watching the game. He's not going to improve that way, and you're not going to really see where his development is, And we've been saying so far this season, the Yankees have not had that mentality. They're a cutthroat. We're coming at you. We are going to run through this league. The pennant is ours for the taking, and nobody's going to stand in our way. That's where it seems right now, and that's where they have to remain. And they can't put a stranglehold, on Jones. They gotta let him cook.
2 of 3 righties, in Milwaukee this weekend, right? Friday and Sunday. Mizorowski, if that's how you pronounce it tonight.
Yeah, what's going on in the background? Whose dog? Is that a dog or what is that? I'm hearing crashing going on.
At my house?
No, I don't think so. I'm just hearing some microphone through. There's a massive crashing going on. Is anyone else hearing that?
Oh, it might be my beast laying down somewhere.
Yeah, I think it might be your dog. No, well, at least we're guaranteed to have Spencer Jones play at least 2 games this season.
I just was looking on MLB, so it looks like, yeah. And Rodon will be returning Sunday too, just to throw that out there.
I was just going to say, speaking of lefties, more injury updates is we're actually getting somebody off of the IL. we're going to start seeing Rodon. He will pitch the final game of the Milwaukee series, and that is a bright spot. And now the question comes back in of where is he slotting in the rotation. I think that anything higher than 4, I don't want to put him right into I don't want to put him right to the fire and with the pressure of being a top 3. I want to let him ease his way back in. I don't want to mess. Definitely the 1-2 is going to be Fried and Cam, and I think he kind of I think Warren, as much as we call him our number 5 pitcher, the way he's been pitching this year, I'd like to see how I like to see him kind of go up a slot while we let our Rodon or even Cole kind of find their way back into that mix and get a rhythm.
Really struggled in the last start.
We got a good problem coming up.
Listen, you can never have too much you can never have too much pitching.
I know.
That's always the mantra.
I mean,
I like Bill Warren in the 5 spot. I'm not putting him up any higher. He really struggled against the Rangers.
Starting pitching's been so good. It's like to have Cole and Rodon come back. What if they struggle? Then what do you guys think will be the effect of them returning? I mean, whether they struggle or not, but I know it's going to be an adjustment for our pitching staff.
Yeah, no, I like Bill Warren as a 5. Number 5, you're getting a real boost at the number 5 spot with him. I don't think it needs to be any higher than that. You go Rodon.
It sounds like Cole might be struggling a little more though than Rodon.
Cole's going to take time. I mean, he's just coming off
right, and he's another month behind.
Yeah,
but did you see that? And
also another thing about Garrett Cole.
Did you see that? What?
Can I just say another thing about Garrett Cole is that I'm not looking at any gospel of what numbers he's putting up right now. It's not really gospel because he's a thinking pitcher. He's like, I'm just going to work on this element, whether it has a huge success or not. I'm not too worried. He just wants to test his pitches. It's kind of like spring training for him. He's basically in spring training mode. So don't look at his ERA. Don't look at his numbers right now.
I wasn't.
No, I'm just saying. I'm talking in general. I'm just saying in general. Don't be too hung up on his numbers right now. It's just spring training mode for him. He's testing out pitches, testing to see his location, the movement, and what needs to be worked on. He is he's like a guru. He's basically a pitching coach.
I know.
At his age, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just a pitching guru. So, am I worried about whatever he puts up in right now in rehab? Not at all. Because he's not on a big league mound yet. So
I just wanted to tell you guys, if you didn't see, that there was a strange story about him yesterday, where he threw at an opposing player. Did you see that?
No.
He reportedly threw at an opposing player who had taken him yard earlier in the game, and I don't know whether.
Comes off out of character. I know he can be a little aggressive, but not that aggressive.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was just, expressing himself a little bit too close or what.
Well, go tell me more about this. I never heard about this. Have you got the story?
I read it yesterday. I wish I had written down where I saw it. Now I don't. I usually do make a full citation, but I did not. And it says fans and players were critical of his fragile ego. One guy reported that Cole is struggling against high A hitting and may be expressing some frustration. That's what I got out of the little bit. And again, if it's bullshit, then I apologize. But it's something I saw yesterday in his last start, from his last start.
I disagree. Well, first thing I would say is I highly disagree with anyone saying that he's got a fragile ego.
Right.
The best always.
No, I don't believe that either.
The best always has some kind of ego. Like Roger Clemens had a bit of a gravitas on that. Yeah, So I don't believe that he would have intentionally tried to hurt him. Without knowing the story, I could be almost. I'll bet my bottom dollar on him not trying to hurt him. It might be just sort of like maybe pitching him in a little bit, like Clemens liked to do. in order to maybe get him a bit more space in the plate, or maybe if someone hit him hard the last time, pitch him in a little bit. Give him a little bit of high heat. That's old school.
I just found the article.
I just looked up the article real quick through Google. It says the incident after allowing a solo home run to Caleb Bonham.
Yeah.
Cole was seen shortly after hitting a batter, which drew criticism from observers who described the action as immature behavior from a veteran ace. Manager's reaction. No, that's.
I'm not saying that this is big news. Don't get me wrong. What I really want to ask you guys, as a result of seeing this, is if Rodon, and now our rotation right now is running like a machine, as I said.
Yeah.
It's like we've got the best pitching in MLB. With Cole and Rodon returning, what if they struggle? Will that have, will how long, or if will Boone allow them to upset the apple cart? Just thoughts on the pitching as we go forward with them returning.
Anyway, give me your thoughts, man. I have no opportunity. Give me your thoughts on the Garrett Cole stuff, and then that question from Chris.
Yeah.
I don't. It's a non-story for me with the Garrett Cole stuff. You rarely hear about him. I mean, yes, Donald's absolutely right. Any ace in Major League Baseball, whether you're a schoolboy or whether you're an old school guy like Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, Greg Maddux, whoever, you're going to have a bit of an ego. I see this really as a non-story. I mean, I get why it would be intentional because you're hitting a guy who just hit a home run off you. I see why it would be considered intentional, but it's the minor leagues to do would Garrett Cole really try to hit somebody in the minor leagues as he's trying to work his way back to the bigs? Is he really trying to make that much of a mark in the minor leagues? No, it doesn't make any sense. He doesn't have a motive. Does it seem intentional? Sure. By the optic point, absolutely. So this guy McClung, I have the NJ article up, NJ.com article up. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. I could see why it's intentional, but it's just a non-story for me. As in the rotation, I leave Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon in the back end for now. Carlos Rodon in the back end rotation until they fully get caught up, and they have their legs under them in terms of innings and all of that. I wouldn't necessarily move Will Warren up in the rotation, but also I wouldn't move Rodon up in the rotation neither because obviously he's coming back from injury. Just don't put too much pressure on them yet. The rotation's been fine. Yes, Will Warren had a bumpy start a few days ago, but just don't touch anything. Just don't touch anything. Don't touch what's not broken. Don't fix what's not broken.
And how
was my intention for it. Just don't rush them.
And how would you utilize Spencer Jones, Luca?
I'm not exclusive to him I'm not going to exclusively use him against righties. I want to see how he does against both because this is, I get it. It's the minor leagues. He didn't hit well against lefties, excuse me. But you got to find out. You can't just say, oh, well, in the minor leagues, he couldn't hit lefties. That could change it, That could change. They could coach up his swing, and he could start hitting lefties like nobody's business. I mean, remember,
that's hilarious.
This was 2010, I believe, because I was reading up on this. And I know this. He was in the major leagues. He came to the Yankees. He was a pro already. Curtis Granderson struggled mightily against left-handed pitchers. You know who helped him out? Kevin Long with a simple few mechanical adjustments. The Yankees could do the same thing to Spencer Jones. Not saying he's going to be like hitting 300 against lefties, but if he's somewhat manageable against lefties, I'm all for that. So I wouldn't completely give up on that. Where it's like, oh, well, we'll play Trent Grisham or whoever against lefties and only Spencer Jones against righties. No, you use him against both sides and you evaluate.
Maxwell, they tried to platoon Ben Rice until it made it impossible to platoon Ben Rice. Yeah. So Ben Rice actually started mashing lefties. So, and it took him being up at the major league level to learn that.
Yep, 100% true.
Yeah, it's amazing when we've seen the guys that they've been patient with, how they've developed. Look at Ben Rice, them giving, having the confidence in Caballero to be an everyday shortstop and not a bench player. Yeah. Those are the two that stand out the most. Because everybody else is pretty seasoned. So you see in the rewards of the sacrifice to do the right thing. They have to continue to do the right thing here. I want to bring up this question from Stuff and Things. He's asked a couple times. Because here's the question I asked previously: when Rodon and Cole return, who goes to the bullpen? Well, Rodon's just going to take Weather's spot right now. That's not the worst case. That's a great scenario. No disrespect towards Weathers, he's done very well for us. But when Cole gets back, that's when the tougher question comes into play.
Yep.
I don't know what that's going to mean for the rotation. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't, because I wouldn't want to move anybody right now. It's gonna have to happen. It's going to suck. But we're getting Cole back, so it'll sting a lot less.
The starting pitching leads all MLB in WAR with a 4.9. That's astonishing. I mean, wow. This team is so exciting right now.
It's not like we have getting Cole back first, and the order they're coming back is really what's going to put a lot of pressure on Boone, because getting Cole back and just moving out Weathers, that's a no-brainer. And then when Rodon comes back, you got to see where you're at. You could maybe delay an extra, minor league rehab. Give him a couple extra starts to see, because you don't want to rush him back, but you can't mess around when it comes to getting Cole back in that rotation. As soon as he's ready, you got to do it. And we're going to see what I'm nervously optimistic, anticipating what they're going to do.
You're nervously anticipating? Are you eagerly anticipating?
Thank you. Eagerly anticipating.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. That's another one. Yeah, don't. Sorry, that's a little Sterlingism right there on my part. I'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Wouldn't it be fun if he came back for the Boston series the first week of June?
That'd be great.
Let's see. Yeah. That would be the end of the first week of June. I know he's like, about a month behind Rodon? Would you say about right? Or June, I heard for him, but no date has ever been given.
No, I don't.
Or the White Sox series. Can you imagine Cole against Muratami, whatever his name, Murakami.
Aggressively apprehensive. I think the rotation will sort itself out. I mean, at the end of the day,
it always does.
One spot is already kind of up in the air. We've had Louis Steele, we've tried ERC, we're kind of trying a bunch of things here. So that's one spot, and then the other spot is Ryan Weathers, and Weathers been fine, but I think he'd be just as good at the bullpen, and it'll strengthen our bullpen. So, am I worried about that? No. At the moment, you've got three really good pitchers, and then you'll add the other two. I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, it would be a bigger issue if Luis Gil was absolutely cooking.
Well, I think it'd be more of an issue if we were losing pitchers rather than gaining them back.
Well, that's true as well. But it would be a bigger problem for Aaron Boone if Luis Gil was absolutely cooking, but he was sent down because he was struggling. So, and same with ERC. If ERC was pitching lights out in his first two starts, then it would be a bigger issue. But it's not. It's really not. He's not ready either. So it's kind of set up for us to have these two back whenever they're ready. But at the end of the day, there isn't any rush to rush them either.
Nope.
So
there isn't.
And I think Weathers will be spot on in the bullpen. I've always predicted that he's.
I think Weathers is going to be like that Yarborough guy.
Or even higher. He might be a high leverage guy. He might be somebody that you could stick in there in high leverage spots because, Duvall hasn't done that. He's not been good enough. But Shout out to Yeri De Los Santos. Even the game we lost, he pitched 3 1/3 innings, and only allowed 1 hit and had 5 strikeouts. So maybe that's someone that we could look to. Ryan Yarbrough has been good too. So I think the bullpen will shake itself out as well. But we do need to acquire a proper arm in June, because Duval ain't it as your 8th man. Cruz is, Duval isn't. But I know that Healing Man's Hearts is bringing up. He's looking forward to when we play the Rays. Can't wait for May 22nd. We play the mighty TB Hens, hand-packing offense. They are this year's Toronto Blue Jays. They won't go away. The Rays ain't going away. I'm absolutely flabbergasted at how good the Rays have been this year. They're only half a game.
The Rays?
There's one reason for it. Kevin Cash.
Kevin Cash.
Great manager.
Ray man.
So
he is a baseball Rain Man. You give him anybody, he's going to figure him out. And when he's done with them, they trade him away.
I know, exactly. He gets it all, and then he trades them away.
We've won 16 and 19 games, which would normally have you miles clear.
Right.
And the Jays and the Rays are right there.
Normally you'd be burying them.
And they're only half a game behind. It just says a lot about, and they have like a fraction of our resource. It says a lot. They're a heck of an organization. And you're right, Kevin Cash is a brilliant manager. Brilliant.
I want to bring this up from because I didn't even realize that's where he was. But this bodes well for our offense, our aggressiveness on the bases. The Brewers have only thrown out 3 base runners this season, all by William Contreras. Gary Sanchez, 0. I didn't even know Gary was still in the league.
Yeah, well, Gary, you can make fun of Gary, but he's leading that team in home runs.
Look, I have no ill will towards him. I just didn't realize he was still around.
That's terrible. You named your cat Kraken.
I know.
You've completely abandoned the Kraken just because he's moved teams.
The Sanchino?
Exactly, the Sanchino. That's terrible.
Hey, can I mention this? Not only is Gary hit 5 home runs, but so is Jake Bowers. They've got all these ex-Yankees on the Brewers. That we're going to have to fight through. That they're probably going to end up kicking our ass.
Where's NFE now? Is Fab 4 is still floating around somewhere? Look, can we say that, because all we've been hearing over the last week or so is that we haven't played any good teams because we've only been facing the AL. Now, how we feel about the narrative that we're facing an NL team. So if they win this series, does this one count?
No, I'll say. I'll tell you what. Don't sleep on this offense. This Brewer offense. Bryce Turang has a 439 on base percentage. He leads baseball on that, I believe. 439 on base percentage. He's unbelievable. So he's a good player. 5 homers, 22 ribs, and a 439 on base. 300 batting average as well. Willie Contreras, he has 23 ribs. Jake Bowers, as brought up, has 20 ribs. So they're kind of cooking.
Yeah, Bowers is sitting for average.
Exactly. And the Sanchino himself, Gary Sanchez has 5 home runs. So he's tied for the team lead with home runs. Pretty impressed with that. Like Bowers, Turang, Sanchez all hitting 5 home runs. So yeah, they've got a decent offense. And then Christian Yelich hasn't started too well. Yeah. There's so much. What is that noise in the background? Is that your dog, Taz?
No, she's quiet now.
I did some looking on Mizorowski. He has a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, a 97-mile-per-hour slider. His last in 5 games, he has a 3.58 ERA, a 3.28 FIP, a 34.2 K percent, and an 8.5 base on ball. His strikeout and whiff rate are both in the 99 percentile. So it's going to be a definite task hitting against him tonight. But we're good for it. I think the Yankee hitters are right. You know, they're hitting everything right now, so they'll hit.
They figured out every pitcher they've had to battle against
Yeah.
except for Volpe. I'm not worried about it.
That's right. Apart from Evaldi, that's it.
Yeah.
They have figured out. I mean, they've broken. You know, they've been patient at the plate. They're building up the pitch count. They're getting to the bullpen early and then pouncing. You know,
Yeah.
and if they're able to keep this strategy going, you know, I think that the series will fare more into our favor.
Welcome,
Doran said
Ron.
to start over. Doran, good to see.
That's it. We got to start over.
But I'm not overly concerned with whether it's not about the starting pitching. I think our offense right now, they are really, their confidence level is all right. I may not get a hit, in my first at bat, but I'm still gonna have two or three more. So they're not panicking just because of one at bat. Like they're staying the court. They still have belief in themselves.
Well said. I agree. I mean, I think they're on the come up. I mean, the Brewers usually have a good starting pitching, but also another thing as well for the Brewers, Jackson Chourio is returning to the lineup. I think he returned to the lineup yesterday, so that's another bat that they're going to add. But I think I have confidence in the Yankee offense that they'll at least go toe to toe with the Brewers pitching. They've had, as I said, Caballero and McMahon. I think they're going to continue to get hot.
Oh, and yes, they're going to have a tough lineup, but we've faced tough lineups. And our pitching, has really, especially the starters, they're going to keep us in the game. Like that's where the confidence is right now. That's what I'm saying. If they don't get, they don't have to hit put up 5 in the first inning. They're going to have the opportunity to put up runs in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Just our pitching has been that sustainable and really, keeping us in it. So, as long as they don't have Wells, coming up in the batting order.
I mean, shout out to so it was the Healing Man saying you're worried about Wells, McMahon, and Jazz. McMahon had a decent series, actually.
He did, and I have some numbers on McMahon if I can only find him in my notes.
All right, so we got that, and I'll be honest, like Jazz has made a couple of nice plays on defense. He's been very solid at second. Offensively, kind of coming around, but still looking kind of goofy with that swing too. He is not a long-term option anyway. He's not coming back.
McMahon, he's batting .304 now in the last 17 games with an .877 OPS after batting .119. So he's part of the success right now, hopefully. And if he can just sustain that, then there's no black hole over at third. His defense was off too. April was just a bad stretch in every direction, but he's riding the ship. I think McMahon is at least hitting. What do you guys think? Is his defense improving? I mean, is it enough that we're satisfied with him at third, or do we need Rosario over there?
I mean, his defense always has been good, but with regards to McMahon, he's obviously getting hot. But I think if we're speaking realistically, and again, as I said, I acknowledge he's getting hot. It's just how hot is he going to be, and when does he return back to the meet? because he's like a low 200s guy. He'll probably hit like 230 or 220 realistically, based on like a whole season. I mean, obviously, as I said, he's getting hot, but we have to measure how hot he's going to be. It's not like he's going to turn into this 300 hitter overnight. So I'm expecting him to finish the season 230, 240. The defense always has been good, but at least you're seeing a little bit of spark offensively.
Yeah.
True.
He had -3 DRS. That's so uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that was more so just his offensive struggles just getting into his head. First full season, a full season starting with the Bronx, can be a lot of pressure on a player. When you go from Colorado to New York, I mean, it's a culture shock. And if he's right, it's a lot better than the 069 a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's right now he's trending in the right direction. Just
Yep.
He doesn't have to. We don't need an explosion. That we got. A career year like we got from Grisham last year just to fall off. Just keep your numbers sustainable.
Right.
Yeah. And if you're right, playing in Colorado is different, higher elevation. We go through a few more comments before we call it a weekend. Healing Red Heart. If McMahon can give consistently 210 to 220, I'm happy. I mean, I would like it higher, but could be worse.
Right. Imagine if we had a third baseman who hit for average. Why didn't they just go get Bregman, for God's sakes? All right, I know that's stupid. That was so stupid. That was like the only negative comment this whole show. I take it back.
Spencer Jones will wear number 78, becoming the first Yankee to use it. Nice.
Oh.
All right.
He's the first Yankee to use that number?
1978 was a good year.
Yes, it was.
All right.
That's interesting. Yankees could have Key Brian Hayes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
If only.
They're in the major leagues and I'm not, so who am I to knock a player? But I wouldn't jump through hoops to get him on the team. But that is going to wrap things up for us. Do want to thank everybody that joined us in the chat. We had a great time talking with you, leading into a very optimistic weekend. Spencer Jones is in the major leagues. Hearing from John that he's going to be wearing number 78 for the Yankees. What's going on, Nick? Wish we would have seen you here earlier. We could have interacted a little bit. It's going to be an interesting weekend. I think this is going to be a challenge for us that we will come out on the other side successful. We will be back Monday morning. As always, just remember, hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out. Your friends, your family, the sharing's on the corner. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. Wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.